Welcome to Are We the Only Ones? This is Kathy.
Hi, I'm Ray.
And today we're going to be talking about the bromance fallout from Elon and Trump.
And Donald.
Which is interesting because, I mean, it's not like we didn't realize this was an impending situation that would happen eventually because of
a mile away.
Because of their personalities, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you got two people that have been born into wealth. You have to start there.
Yeah.
So there's a...
What do you mean born into wealth? They're both really hardworking men who pulled themselves up by their booty bootstraps.
Look, I grew up in Silicon Valley. I was raised in Los Altos, home of the 1%. Okay, so I'm not going to sit like... However, there is a way to do the right thing. And for the most part, I think when you think about like the founding fathers and where with the Constitution, the fact that we didn't have like a mandatory requirement to like turn in your tax forms until Donald Trump, they had to create that law for that.
It's a gentleman's agreement.
Exactly. Exactly. So
and
because
he's
of
not
that,
a gentleman.
you realize like they didn't think that a president that would be elected would ever
act like that.
Turn on their constituents to the extent of like I want to cut all your programs that would help you out. I want to like literally like take away medical care that would be available to you because of some philosophy that is not grounded in medical stuff. There's so many things that are occurring that like all of a sudden you wonder if they're going to stop occurring because of this fallout, right? So like Doge is, I know that a lot of people at Doge, they're working, they're scared. They don't know if they're gonna have a job anymore, right? Which makes sense.
The fake government agency that was just developed overnight.
Well, I think Senator Warren just filed a lawsuit that's going to be about investigating Doge and whether it's like legal or not. Like the whole thing was like not legal.
The whole thing should be illegal. There was
It is illegal. It's not a constitutional. It's not within the Constitution.
There was no regulation. He had no government clearance. It was so illegal.
But it's
and disgusting.
I think that was a perfect like example of how like our government and our like society does stuff, and then the government rules or whatever the policing is super far behind, and eventually it catches up.
Yeah,
Lady Justice always catches up, even though she grinds very slow.
Yeah,
right. But like this is that. Like I remember watching everything happening with Doge as it was going down. Like USAID is now possibly like coming back, right? I know AmeriCorps, there was a lawsuit to stop the dismantling of AmeriCorps.
Which we need that. Like kids who don't go to college and rely on that kind of stuff.
Well, plus all these people would be homeless all of a sudden. Like, why would you want to do this to your own people? Unless my theory is that like you're maybe working to a certain extent for you owe somebody who's running another government who wants it to be this way. Because that's the only reason it would make sense that you, as the president, would literally go in and do all this stuff that would kind of like, I call it the Grim Reaper presidency. That's what I'm coining it. Because I have never seen someone take so much joy out of basically committing manslaughter. I'm going to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt that he doesn't know that could possibly happen, that what he's doing could possibly result in all these deaths. But as somebody whose mom, like, died from the lack of understanding of the pandemic and COVID and everything, and she was a supporter of Donald Trump and died as a result of supporting him, I know firsthand that his supporters can end up losing their lives by supporting him. Like that's literally what has happened to my mother, right? So
we're seeing that with like anti-vaxxers losing their kids, and they're doubling down on being anti-vaxxers.
So this situation, to me, had to happen because you have two people who are super corrupt. There's a point of corruption, like even in the mob, there's a certain amount of trust. There's have no trust. Exactly.
No trust. And this all started when Musk was making his exit from Doge.
Yeah.
And then he started tweeting about the big, beautiful bill or whatever the fuck that scam is called.
Like, there's a lot of pork. I remember he said, there's a lot of pork in this bill. And I saw the quote and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So he started.
Gloves are coming off.
Yeah. He started speaking out about that. And that's where it kind of all started. And then it just really escalated yesterday Oh my gosh. I follow Midas Touch. Do you follow Midas Touch on Instagram?
Go ahead. Tell me.
One of the guys was going on a run. And what he does is he does live updates on his Instagram, which we'll link in the show notes. So you can also follow them because they're hilarious. But it's three brothers. But he was stopping his run like every 2 minutes to like record like, oh, Elon Musk just tweeted this. Donald Trump just tweeted this. And everyone's like, he can't even go for a run because it was just like bam, 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 which was absolutely hilarious. But
that was actually me this morning. I got off of a cruise ship today, and I literally was like, oh my God, this is happening. I'm like posting things as I'm posting pictures of the cruise ship saying goodbye to the cruise ship. I'm also posting all this like political stuff. I'm sure people are just like, what is like,
what
dude,
is this?
Pick a lane, right? But like so much stuff is happening that you can't really focus on one thing because there's just like, you have to multitask all this information all the time. And like, I mean, so one of the interesting things I thought was like in my brain, but I was like joking, but then I was kind of serious, was like, okay, if this whole situation, like we've been advocating, not me, but like this white South Africans have a like a refugee status or whatever, and they're coming over here. Does this policy and this program end? Because this is really
from Elon Musk.
There's no other, I mean, it made no sense to me. I'm like, wait, what? Like, so then Steve Bannon, literally because Elon Musk tweeted that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files.
Not a surprise.
And then Steve Bannon, as a result, is now telling Donald Trump to have a formal investigation
on
Musk and all of the contracts and his drug use. And then to deport him back to Africa. And I'm like, wow, we have gone full circle. We have, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have white supremacist advocacy from the White House, right? To a certain extent, right? Like, I'm going to put as nicely as I can put it.
No, I mean, Donald Trump said in a tweet, like, that was a Nazi salute. You know it.
Oh, yeah.
I know it. And then he still fucking put him in a position in the White House, which means he's totally okay with Nazis.
Well,
so,
I remember when Steve Bannon was made chief of staff, my first comment was like, dude, there's no way that like, if you're someone who's not racist, you would never affiliate with anybody that was remotely, openly racist, let alone somebody who is clearly like in the WS/N category. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you think anything like you could possibly, if as the president of the United States, put somebody like that as the chief of staff and not be super down with racism, super down with discrimination, you're crazy. And then all his legislation is proof of that. So it's evidence of what I'm saying is true. Yeah. Right. So then,
well, I don't know. Cause there are people, this is going so off topic, but there are people when you're like, well, Donald Trump is racist or Elon Musk's Nazi. I've had patients at my job who come in, they're like, Elon Musk's not a Nazi. I'm like, he literally did the Nazi salute. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't say that in my workplace, but in my brain, I'm thinking, at work, I'm like,
I find it very interesting how much they don't want to take responsibility and credit for their actual things that are their actual symbols because they know it's wrong.
They know it's wrong.
So that's why I'm like, if you can't stand 10 toes down and stand on this, nothing about this ideology is real.
Right. So, but where I was going with that is there are people who, when you say like Donald Trump is racist, they're like, no, he's not. He did this, this, and this. But then it's like, those are also the same people that are like, well, racists can be policed because they can separate it. I've literally had people tell me that. People in my own family, when we've had that argument, with Black Lives Matter, they told me, it's okay if police are racist because they can separate it. And I'm like, you cannot separate your bias. When you are like in a life and death situation or you feel threatened, your bias, you don't check it. It just comes out. It just shows.
Look, I think like I'm further along as an anti-racist. I'm further along than like I'm afraid to be called this or that. Like I'm like, dude, like I'm gonna tell you right now, like this is because for real, when you're hanging out with, when you're a person of color, you hang out with other people of color, we freely talk to each other about our differences and we don't get pissed off at each other. So because I grew up in a society that was like mostly white, I also am a bridge to being like, dude, like I'm gonna tell you guys, like this is actually kind of hilarious. And like I'm gonna tell you what it is, like about you guys. You know what I mean? Like, and try to do the same thing. But when you do it from the perspective of like, you're so like what they're saying. Okay, so Donald Trump, I have said to this effect, to this understanding, Donald Trump is not the racist in the sense of the purest type of racist, because that's for sure true. And I say this because if you're thinking like hardcore,
I'm not saying he's got a white hood and he's burning crosses.
I do believe that he is not that far from that. I'm saying though that like in a modern times, you have Proud Boys being someone who is actually brown, right? You have that racism today is not just about.
It's not so black and white.
It's not just about race. The fact that you have, this is the other point I was like trying to make, but I was like, like Elon Musk, Steve Bannon, and Trump, they're all white. Steve Bannon is literally trying to deport a white South African back to Africa. And the irony of that is like so beyond hilarious of the full circle moment of this, that if you don't see that all of this is so, it's not any ideology about race, even about gender. Those things are used as a tool to hold all the power.
Right.
It is not really
at the same time. It's like protecting your own.
Well, like you can't be against abortion and then have paid for how many abortions that both of those men have probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, admittedly, even like have admitted to even paying. So that's why I'm like.
But you can, because they do.
What I'm saying is that none of this stuff now is an actual ideology. This is just like picking and choosing things
to save face for the constituents,
just to stay in power.
Yeah.
Like, what'll work to stay in power? I don't believe in any of this shit. I just know they believe in this shit. And if I use it on them,
they're pandering.
They'll keep me in power. That's it. If you break it down, instead of it's like, there's integrity in this. Take all the integrity of the belief system out and recognize they have no integrity in what they believe in. They're just doing it because it works as a tool. If you know, like, step on this stone because that won't fall. Step on this stone because that won't fall. This is that you're stepping on stones of ideology will not fall. These are solid things. These people not
that they
let
don't believe
these
in.
Things fall. So you can stand those. You don't have to believe in them. Yeah. But as long as you stand on them, they'll hold you up.
Yeah.
And
so they're talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk.
Well, now we'll see what happens because these are the two pillars, right? These are two of the biggest pillars of this MAGA ideology that's been holding on for honestly.
He's Gothic MAGA.
It's not even like 6 months. Oh, no.
We know.
Almost. We're just shy of 6 months of the presidency.
They didn't even make it 6 months into their relationship.
So I'm saying, like, we will now see. What is that? I don't understand what that tweet from Elon Musk was like. He's got 3.5 years. Trump has 3.5 years as president, and I have 40 years. What does that mean? I think
he's saying because previous to that, he tweeted that the only reason Trump won was because he helped him.
Like, what does he mean, like, steal it? Like, with
allegedly,
data?
Allegedly.
Like, what was he alluding to?
Allegedly.
I'm like, look, hey, FBI, it's time to search all these computers.
Search
these computers. What's happening?
But I think what he was saying was the only reason Trump won that election is because of him, and that Trump was ungrateful, and that after 3.5 years, Trump's not going to mean shit. He's not going to have any power, but Elon Musk is still going to be the richest man in the world for 40 more years. So he's going to be able to control a lot, and Trump's not going to be able to do shit. I think that's what he meant by that.
So he's threatening him. He just threatened him.
He just like, you are.
I just want to understand. Did
useless.
I understand that sound? To me, it sounded like a very well worded, long-term threat. I was like, who's he threatening though? Like, I couldn't understand. Was he threatening society? Yeah. Is he threatening America? Well, who is he threatening? That's what I was like.
Really want them to get back onto X and start tweeting again. Twitter, whatever.
I was thinking about joining back on just to see what was going on.
Yeah, I need to know if Trump's assassination attempt was staged.
And I want to know. His ear is healed, so the answer has to be yes.
Yeah, I want to know if Elon will go that far. Let's go, Elon. Let us know.
Oh, because you don't think an Epstein
the Epstein one
accusation is not far enough?
Dude, God. First of all, that wasn't far. We all knew it already. We all knew it already. We knew he was in there. Just like we know Clinton's in there. Just how we know everybody else is in there. Take them all down.
They were on the planes. We don't know. Like, look, based on all this stuff, there is definitely a connection that needs to be investigated for sure. Okay. Just, if not to clear the president's name, right? Why not clear your name and show that, like, you're definitely not in the files? Like, show, there's that, you know what I mean?
And they're gonna show the files, and there's all these blacked out. See, I'm not in there.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, There is that. Like, there's people that have been like, no, I was on the plane, but I didn't go to his island. Like, there's like, you can understand, like,
the charter.
Sometimes
whatever.
I can see, because, you trade when you're doing, like, especially PR. Like, I know with fashion PR, you're doing all kinds of, like, trading free clothes, trading whatever. I could totally see people as friends trying to make a deal, like a big $1 million deal. And sure, jump on my plane. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's normal. That's like that. And we're
for them, it's normal.
For them, that's normal, right?
Yeah,
no, but
for
think
me,
about like how
I cannot wrap my head around it.
But you can intellectually.
I would
understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's
trading services.
At least go there.
I mean, it's the equivalent of like, because I'm a licensed esthetician. It's like me trading a facial for getting my nails done.
Yes, that's exactly the same.
Like, it's like that.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Now, there's a threshold of dollar amounts where like taxes get involved, right?
For sure.
But like, this is why they were doing like the tax break for the private planes. Remember the first tax code under Trump was like, you get a tax break if you have a private plane, like a jumbo. Did you not know that?
Yeah.
Now you can get a tax break for tanning beds. That was in this last big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
And the other thing that...
I'm surprised spray tans weren't in there.
I mean, it's covered in the tanning bed.
Is it?
I mean, the tanning bed is, I would imagine...
I don't know. I don't know if Trump spray tans or if he gets in the tanning bed.
All of it is tax deductible.
All of it.
No, it is. It's all tax deductible.
Okay, let's talk about these whiny big diaper baby boys. So yeah, it started with Elon. Started with Elon talking shit about Trump's wonderful bill that he's trying to get passed. And then so I think Trump retaliated by threatening to cut his federal contracts, and which SpaceX.
You know what we should do? We should read that Heather Richardson Cox, that whole breakdown. Because that, like, literally, as a resource, we should definitely, like...
We can link it in the show notes so people have, like, or put it on our Substack so people can see it.
Yeah, that breakdown is, like, extremely... If you follow us on Substack, we're going to be including, like, follow-up notes, so that, like, reference materials
and links and stuff, yeah.
Maybe not, like, to the extent of, like, a full-on, like, congressional... Maybe sometimes, maybe not. Like, we're not perfect, but we're going to do our best to, like...
Summarize everything for you guys.
And give you Substack stuff that's, like, interesting.
Yeah.
You know, so perhaps with this one, it would be like the funny memes that people are writing that I find. And I'm going to follow up with like the funniest, like.
The memes are so good.
They're, and just the jokes. It's going to be for like, I haven't laughed like this for a while because you get tired of hearing jokes about them, but like this was actually really funny. So the bromance of like all the songs, like, oh my God, Senator Chuck Schumer posted on his official Facebook page. He said it was a reference to Taylor Swift's song, Bad Blood. Mm-hmm. And all the comments was like, we are never, ever getting back together.
Yeah.
There's all these different songs, and I was just cracking up. Like, that's
all
so
of this
funny.
Before his birthday. He's not going to get a gift from Elon Musk this year.
She gives him a Cybertruck that like doesn't work well. There was like somebody made a joke about how like this relationship is falling apart faster than a Tesla Cybertruck's wheels.
I know the memes, the jokes are so good,
but it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. We're all fine
because we need to just we need to
decolonize. But yeah, so.
I don't know. Tell us what you think about this new fallout, because this just happened. So we're kind of like,
okay. Well, I think if you were not in it to win it with MAGA, you saw this coming from a mile away. You just knew it was going to happen.
Well, inevitably, yeah. All relationships.
This is sooner than I thought it would happen, for sure.
Okay, I can see that.
Because I thought Elon would have definitely milked it for more, unless with Doge he's already captured our data and everything, and he's good to go.
Palantir is going to be taking over the. Do you hear about the guy, Peter Thiel? Mm-hmm. So this is the thing that's interesting. I didn't know that Peter Thiel
another one of
was
Jeffrey
gay.
Epstein's friends, right?
I have no idea about that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that Peter Thiel apparently had a young gay lover that passed away apparently after a fight. I just like, what? Like, there's like the weird things. And this is the other thing, like Tim Cook, I didn't realize there's so many gay CEOs. So there's also that question about like, wait, as much as you say, sometimes like white women hold up the patriarchy and all that, but like white gay men that are CEOs are not exactly like coming to the rescue.
No.
Like they're almost like contributing to a certain extent more than any, MAGA red hat wearing donor.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're
I
upholding.
mean, other
they're
than
upholding
the
that,
particular fallout of Elon Musk being one of the top. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't, and I'm like, wait, he's gay too? I just thought that we were all in it together. So I was kind of surprised to
I
see
think once you get past a certain tax
wealth,
bracket,
yeah, I think you're right.
you don't give a shit. Because
I don't know about you don't give a shit, but I think you have to think financially
You think
as a way
financially,
to have a war chest to fight.
At the end of
later.
the day, you can get anybody to suck your dick when you're a billionaire.
I don't know if that's true. Anybody? You can get a lot of people, but not anybody.
Okay, you
get a lot of people. You get a lot of, but not anybody.
You will get people.
There is someone that will do it.
You don't have to worry about it. I
About
think
never getting it.
being gay and in a low income neighborhood, way different than being a gay billionaire. Nobody's gonna give you shit for being gay because you're a billionaire. They don't even give a fuck at that point.
I was like, what? What are you saying? Okay. Yeah.
But, if you aren't surrounded by a supportive community, and that's why people are advocating, we need to talk about how they took off Harvey Milk's name off of the ship during Pride Month.
Yeah, well, what ended up happening is now we're talking about Harvey Milk a ton. So if anything, it just revitalized for the new generations who didn't even know who that was or weren't really familiar other than like the movie
but
or
it's
something
just like
that.
During Pride Month, and he is a veteran. And like, Trump never served.
No, I know. I mean,
and what's his name? Peter Hegseth?
Oh, Hegseth. He did serve, but he was disgraced in service. He was, he got in trouble for a lot of things.
A disgrace.
Sexual assault, I think, and I'm pretty sure.
Allegedly.
No, it wasn't allegedly. Like he actually got in trouble. It was like it's official.
Oh, I just love it. I love the leadership of this
country.
country.
They're all
right
officially
now.
in trouble for sexual assault or rape.
Yeah.
Not all, but a lot of them. Like the number, if you look at like
say?
how many
birds of a feather flock together, or birds of the same feather flock together, some shit like that.
I mean, honestly though, like the self-destruction of their own movement, relationship, this whole thing is something that like historically, yes, that's tracks. Even when I talk about math, like mathematically, like I believe in math. This is sort of in its own way, the math playing itself out.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I'm glad it happened sooner rather than later.
Oh, me too.
Right. Like that's a good thing. You don't want.
It's been a long 5 months anyways. Like we needed something to spice things up.
What you can rely upon is that in corruption, there's egos. And those egos will not, the further they go in their journey to, or their quest, their ego is not going to get smaller. Yeah. So you can rely on the ego being the thing that takes it down. And you're just hoping society can withstand all of the corruption that is like being unleashed upon it. And we're doing I think the fact that like all these other countries met without us and started actually making plans without us, I think that was like also a reality check. Like, are we going to be like the next North Korea? Right? We're isolated.
The next Russia, where we become the villain in the movies.
Oh, we're already the villain in the movies. No, we're already past that.
So
already past that. It's more like all the other countries are looking at us as people. Like they feel bad for the American people. And like they know that like it's not our fault. That's where it's at. I guarantee. Because I've traveled enough, lived overseas long enough, affiliated with military deployment. Like I know how people talk about Americans overseas, like for real, and I know how they feel right now. And they tell me. I get emails all the time. I get DMs all the time from people from like Australia, Fiji, because I have family in Australia too. I meet people and I like from like Switzerland, whatever they tell me.
So a lot of Southeast Asians voted conservative.
Yeah.
And I follow a lot of them.
Oh, what are they saying now?
They're pissed.
Okay, good. I want to hear that.
They're pissed because I think there is this underlying racism in some Southeast culture.
Oh,
where
no, I think there is.
There is. And so I think with Donald Trump, they thought it was just going to be, because now there's a lot of Vietnamese, Laotian, Southeast Asian refugees that are getting deported. And I know with Laos, and I think Vietnam is the same, they do not basically they don't have anything, a treaty or anything with the the U.S. to bring back any of those deported citizens. So people are getting like literally dropped off in the country, and they're like, good luck. I don't know what's happening to you. I don't know what I don't know what this country's going to do for you.
I mean, this is the thing. At least if you're dropped off in a country that is actually like somehow related to you versus like being put into a jail in a completely different other country.
I mean, one option is better than the other, but a lot of them on social media are pissed, and they're like, this wasn't supposed to happen. And I thought they just thought it was going to be happening to people that were like Mexican or Hispanic.
Well, this is the thing about like human beings. It's such an overwhelming thing that it's hard to like activate yourself unless you see yourself in the person that's being like unjustly treated, right? So like it takes a little bit because we've been conditioned to recognize like this one, you know, there's like, you feel upset about it. But when do you actually get so upset that you do something about it? At which point? Is it this person? Is it this mom? Is it the child? Is it, you know, where I'm watching society, I'm like, where is it? I'm learning where we are.
Where is it for you?
Oh, dude, I've been way, you know, what are you talking about for me? I'm like I've never been.
Just you've always been politically active?
Oh, politically active in general. Oh, actually, yeah. I mean, like, since, like,
was there something that's just, like...
I think it's just in my soul. I don't know how to explain it. I remember being called too American. You're so American because I spoke up too much in my household. I think I've just always been this way. And so I don't know how to watch something go down that's wrong and just sit there and not say anything about it. Not even, I've stepped in so many times. I step in on cruises and I like have to, if somebody's doing like, yo, what are you doing? I remember going to a nail salon once that was in New York City in Park Slope. Some guy came in. They were actually all Tibet, the women in there. So if you know like Asian culture, like the people from Tibet and Nepal, the nicest, sweetest people, and they will never, like they don't ever fight back. And so this guy came in, got services done, and tried not to pay. And I went in, like stood up for them. I got up off my seat and I went in on the guy. I was like, I'll call the police right now. And he's like, why do you care? And I'm like, because you're wrong. Like, because you're wrong.
Just shut up and get
You're
out.
coming in here, you're trying to get free services, and I know what these women are going through, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. And I was like, I will call the police right now on you. I'm like, and I was trying to like, keep, like, it's my I cannot let something that unjust like go unnoticed. So that's me, my everyday. And then, but I think I remember my first time actively like going to a political thing in like 11th grade instead of opting to go on a senior trip to Mexico. And then writing an essay about it, and then having people like tell my mom at her work, "Oh, I read your daughter's essay in the St. Francis Lancer, or whatever it was, like newsletter or whatever." And that was the first time I heard anything positive about like my writing. So then that made me feel like, oh, maybe there's something here. Then it just was dormant until I went to Vote Rent Lead, and then actually like became a part of Vote Rent Lead actively. And the fact that like they sort of singled me out immediately, I was, like within walking through the doors, I got singled out before I even sat down. Got singled out to have an interview, and then they just kept singling me out in the training. So then I was like, oh, maybe this is, and this is like me with fashion. It was like, oh, maybe this is something I'm meant to do when it fast tracks. When I'm fast tracked, there's like a certain amount of like your natural understanding of something, and then like feeling that people support you and your natural.
How did you
gift
find Vote Rent Lead?
So I helped my friend get elected to, I think it was like a school board. And the way it had to happen was the principals of the nursery schools in that area of that district were the ones that voted for the candidates. So, and the candidate cannot campaign. This is how this particular election went. The candidate cannot campaign to any of the schools.
Yeah.
So the only way that they know the names of the candidates that they would be like, oh, I want to, is because the parents go to the principal and say, hey, my friend is running. If you see her name, please vote for her. And the way I know how it would collectively happen if I was a principal is the more parents that say the same name, that's more likely how I'm gonna vote, right? So I told all my friends that were there, I'm like, you need to tell our principal to vote for this candidate. And then she got elected. And she came to me, she's like, oh my God, I elected. And so to a certain extent, she sort of gave me a little bit of like credit for assisting her. Like, I mean, obviously she had to run. I barely did anything, right? I literally talked to one or 5 people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then really like hammered home to the person that had the voting power in that. And then after that, I was like, well, let's go get mani-pedis and like celebrate. And so we did. And then while we're getting pedicures, she asks me if I'm willing to go to a training of vote which is where she trained to be able to run.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, sure. Because I was thinking when I met my husband, he had said that many years ago when I first met him, he said that his ambition was to run for president. I was like, all right, let me now, this may be a good opportunity for me to learn something foundationally for running for office for him, even though this is a women's organization. So I was like, yeah, I'll go to the training. And it was that evening.
Yeah. There's so many trainings just to like camera training and, all of that stuff.
So this training was like a training to how to run for office, basically, in Manhattan. So like, then I get singled out by the founder, by other people in the organization that I can tell like, okay, this is like a really legit organization.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening was that I was on, you get put into a Facebook group that's the alumni group once you finish the training. So then in the alumni group, I had this feeling like, what would I do? Like, how would I find out how to run for office? So what I ended up doing was I started looking up on Google and there was no information. So then on Facebook alumni group, I posted the question inside the group, like, how do you find out how to run for office? I'm interested in finding out what I would be eligible for, but I want to find out the information. Like, what is the office? What is the job description? What does it pay?
The experience
how long
needed.
is the term?
Yeah.
Basic info. And there was nothing. So then when I asked the founder, then wrote back inside the big alumni group so everybody can see all this stuff. And she explained, oh yeah, it's really archaic. I would love to, help like make this change. And I go, well, I know people at Google. Maybe I can get into a meeting or something and try to get them to change it or update it on their system or something. She's like, well, let's get on a call. So then we got on a phone call, and then she invited me to this thing called the New Founders Conference in Chicago, which was like this big political conference. And she was like, we had never met each other, okay? She was like, you can stay in my hotel room. I'm like, cool. So then we fly to Chicago. We still don't know each other. Yeah. Okay, have not met. I check into the hotel, and then she asked me to go pick up some printed material for Vote Running. So I go do that at like, I think it was a Kinko's. And I go and then show up at the event, and I'm like dropping off all the stuff. And then we finally meet up, and I ended up like, I'm doing sort of like my rounds of meeting people. And then I ended up meeting this guy who is the head of a different nonprofit that uses text messaging to get people to like show up and protest. Like he can move like 1,700 people to one event within like an hour, which is like a big deal. So he and I started talking, and he was going to Google the following week. And I was telling him like, oh, this is what's going on with what I found out. And I feel like there should be a way where everybody can easily find out like what they can run for and all this information. It would be just right there. So he's like, if you want to come with me to Google, I will totally introduce you to the people at I think it was like the civics projects, what they have. It's a department there. So I was like, that would be amazing. So, and it was funny because I was like within my first trimester of being pregnant. And in my pregnancy time, I was trying not to do anything. Like I was not trying to like do anything that would jeopardize my pregnancy.
Yeah.
So for me to be like, I'm going
to stay low key, keep your peace.
Yeah, because it was a rainbow baby. Yeah. So I'm like, but you know what? This is so important. I'm going. And that's when I realized, wow, I must really care about politics that much that I'm going while I'm pregnant with this rainbow baby. Like I'm scared. I'm going to fly. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to do all these things. But it's so important to me that I got to do it. And so that was a new level of like,
yeah.
When you feel motivated, like I understand they're motivated by money, right? Like when we were talking about like politicians, oligarchs that are motivated by money, and then being motivated by like Bernie Sanders, which is like being compelled because you're called to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. I have run for something. Who wrote that? Amanda something.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah.
She was at the training I was at.
Oh, really?
She was literally one of the panelists talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could sign up with her.
Book. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Erin knows her. Like
I think I read it halfway through, and I was like, I'm never gonna run for office.
You never know.
And then
you never know.
Closed it.
You never know.
And then I probably opened up a book about like Ruth Bader Ginsburg or something. I like to be informed, but I don't know if I would like to take that action.
I mean, you're doing this. This is like obviously taking action.
Yeah. I mean, I've always done like protested. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Even that's mobilizing.
Yeah.
RBG, she says in her documentary that she was not like a protester. She would not. That's not her thing.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you protest. That's something that she couldn't do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what she did, you couldn't do, right? Like make it to the Supreme Court, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like, you both did something that the other person could do or
But
couldn't do, but needed to be done for the movement.
Yeah.
So you still contribute a lot. So that, don't play down your contributions that a lot of people, it's like, what was it, 3.5% of the...
There's so many people that just sit on the sidelines, and it's like they will complain about it, but then they don't do anything. And I'm like, you should do something then.
Yeah.
But there is word that they are replacing Elon Musk with Doge with someone named Russell Vought, which we might know him because he is the head of the Office of Budget Management.
Which is a really big office. That was one of the ones that slashed everything.
Which kind of means like that's, I think Doge would have been grouped under that, I guess. But we know him as one of the architects for Project 2025. And he is a Christian nationalist, so it's just perpetrating that whole racist ideology movement in Trump's administration, which I think it's funny how quickly Musk's shoes have been filled, in Trump's eyes at least.
Yeah. Oh, here are memes about Trump and Musk. Best memes as social media reacts. The internet was savage is the first line of this article. That's really funny. The internet was savage. Okay. Elon right now. This girl is the nastiest skank bitch I've ever met. Do not trust her. She is a fugly slut, Regina George. And it's a picture of Donald Trump saying, Elon's a fugly slut. Seems like a great time to pull out this meme again. It's like, bro, you seeing this? It's
oh my gosh,
Chinese leader talking to Putin. Mm-hmm. Then hold up, got a line, and then it's North Korean dictator going, bro. Oh, all the popcorn jokes about like how popcorn's out. Yes. There's no more popcorn left.
Yes.
Oh, watching Trump and Elon fight. I just hope both these teams lose.
Seriously. That would be the best case scenario.
The Real Housewives of Pennsylvania Avenue.
That's the truth.
It was foretold.
All of the JD Vamp memes of like JD's playing Xbox in his room while his parents are downstairs fighting. So good. Here's this too. I hate my ex. I don't know if this is real, but oh my gosh, wouldn't that be hilarious?
So this is the thing about the memes right now that's really hard. Some of them are fake, or like not fake, but some of the quotes that are attributed to Trump or Elon Musk are kind of fake. Mm-hmm. Not kind of, they are fake, but they are so possible in the realm of possibility that you honestly, it's hard because as you search them, other people have posted them too, so you can't tell if they're real.
Right, if they're real or not. This is my favorite, I think, with the Bernie chair.
With Bernie in the chair with the
my man Bernie,
and just watching.
Yes. So some great memes out there.
Please send us the memes that you see about this because we would love to post them, and then we'll credit you for sending them to us or whatever.
Yes.
And also, I think we're gonna eventually like come up with a cool giveaway for people that contribute back in to like any of the question and answer stuff, or if you send us memes and we use it. But it won't be stuff that's like
cool resources too. Like if there's something that we haven't heard of, and like, oh yeah, you guys were talking about Women's Health. Here's this cool organization, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But we'll send you something that's like cool merch, not like credit to our store or nothing like that. We'll just send you something, and it's not something that you can purchase necessarily. So it'll be like, you got it from us, and thank you for contributing. You're part of like the OG squad, you know, especially for the first year of this podcast that we're doing. So
yeah, if you would like to give us a follow on Instagram at Are We The Only Ones Pod, YouTube, same name. And then
join us on the website.
Yeah, we're going to be launching the website, the Substack that we've kind of been talking about throughout this episode.
All right.
Until next time.